You will all follow me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God, we thank you that we're coming together today to do the business of the county. We ask you to guide the commissioners, keep them inside. Ask you to watch over our county employees and protect them as they serve. We pray in Jesus' name.
Thank you.
I'll call the February 20th meeting of the Linn County Commissioners to order. Minutes from last month's meeting or last 2 weeks ago meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, I'll make a motion that we approve as presented.
I'll second.
Motion been moved and seconded to approve as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
I'll make a motion, we pay two sets of claims for the last 2 weeks. First one in the amount of $533,511.80. And this week's was $187,378.07.
I'll second that motion. It's been moved and seconded to approve the claims in the amount of $533,511.80 and $187,378.07. Is there any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
I've got a pretty good stack of abatements. It is numbers 203 through 205, and then 207 through 224. And the grand total is a reduction in tax of $6,592.57.
I'll make a motion that we approve the add and abates 203 through 205, numbers 207 through 224, for a reduction in taxes in the amount of $6,592.57.
I'll second.
Motion been moved and seconded to approve the add and abates. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. AMR?
Good morning, Commissioners. Paramedic Operations Supervisor Louis Aloy, and today I'm happy to introduce our new Operation Manager, Dawn Brooks. She's been in EMS like me 20 plus years. She's been with the AMR operation up in Johnson County for the last 7 or 8, and part of the success that they've had up there and us down here was all part of her. So I'm really happy she got this position. Like I always say, this was a homegrown one. So even though they did an outside search, we got lucky getting her. I'll do the numbers and then I'll let you guys talk to her.
Sounds good.
So this week was pretty busy, really going into yesterday, which was really busy. We had 64 calls for service with 31 transports. As we go down there, we're starting to see a little increase in the western side call load. 4 calls out in Blue Mound with 1 transport, 2 in Centerville, no transports. Lacine showed 19 calls out with 11 transports. Linn Valley 5 with 4, Mound City 12 with 4 transports out, Parker with 7. But we do have a person who calls a lot out there, so that number is kind of skewed high with 7 transports. 14 in Pleasanton with 7 transports, and Prescott had 1 with 1 transport, and we flew out 3 patients this week. We ran 8 calls yesterday with 1 flight out, so busy day. Busy day. It started up first thing this morning, and like I said, I'm happy to introduce Don Brooks.
Thank you, Louis. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, happy to be here. What can I do for you guys?
Tell us a little bit more about yourself, if you
Sure.
would, please.
So I live in Kansas City, Kansas. I've worked for the KC Metro operation for 7 years as a supervisor, as Lou said. Been a paramedic for 20 years. I've worked in a city service and then worked for a county service, Jefferson County in Kansas, which is very similar, I feel like, in size to Linn County. And I really appreciate the communities of the county. I think I understand it a little bit better working out there, and I really appreciate these guys. Everybody here is lucky to have, we have these 3 supervisors here that just need nothing from me. I mean, they run the show and take care of business, and I don't have to worry about anything going on over here. So I'm really grateful for these guys, and I'm happy to be a part of the team.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Sheriff's report for February 12th. 56 prisoners, 10 releases. Total prisoners in is 55. Total farmed out is 1. Total farmed in is 37. 101 911 calls. 3,882 jail contacts. Total calls for service 510. Total civil service papers served 14. VIN inspections 3. New cases opened 14. Cases closed 6. There was 3 vehicle crashes. 110 calls for services with the SROs. Bailiff contacts of 182 with 34 resulting in calls for service. 3 livestock out. For February 19th, we had 57 prisoners in, 12 releases this past week. Total prisoners of 56, 1 farmed out, total farmed in of 35. 911 calls of 72, total jail contacts of 4,196. 544 calls for service. 4 civil service papers served, 2 VIN inspections. 12 new cases open, 0 cases closed, 6 vehicle crashes, 111 calls for services on the SROs. Bailiff contacts 160 with 29 resulting in calls for service, 5 livestock out.
And Randy sent his reports for the last 2 weeks, and he's not able to be here this morning.
Okay.
Do you have those?
I do.
numbers?
So from 2/5 to 2/18, we had 20 incidents with rural fire. And year to date, we're at 61 incidents.
I also have the treasurer's quarterly interest report and delinquent tax reports, and I think this was sent out, so you guys had them, but just to kind of go over the numbers. The fourth quarter interest for 2023 was $38,738.90. Total interest for the year was $245,295.49. And then delinquent taxes at the end of the year on real estate were $1,142,480.56. And personal property was $26,442.86. And Janet had told me if you guys had any questions, she could come over or we could call her, but it's just her numbers that she needs to get out to you.
Okay. Any questions on those numbers?
I don't have any.
Any? I don't either.
That's all I've got at the moment anyway.
Chris?
Morning, Commissioners. Chris Martin, Linn County IT Director. First off, I just want you to know that the radio project is all but done. So all the hardware has been installed, all the radios and the trucks, they've all been programmed. We're going through a little bit of just some technical tweaking here and there, but all in all, that project is completed. So very happy with that. I'd sent out an email to the commission just asking in advance. I hope you guys had a chance to kind of look that over regarding the remote attendance on the meetings. So the questions that I had was, in your motion that it was by Zoom, the remote attendance is by Zoom only, correct? Okay, so no phone. The reason I'm asking is we don't want to have to try to integrate the room system with multiple platforms. So if we can limit that to, we're going to use Zoom, and that is what the county uses, but not anything beyond that or whatever, that would be helpful for me to know.
I don't think that should be a problem. Do you guys?
Okay. Do you want to require that remote voting participants be seen on video?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so as well.
Okay. And who is responsible for controlling the Zoom participants? Would it be the meeting chairperson?
I think it has to be.
Okay. You know, if they were muted, to tell them to unmute or something of that nature to control that is why I'm asking that. Would you like to show the remote participants, however many there might be, on the large screen in the room?
I think that would be good.
Okay.
That lets everybody know that they're participating.
Right. And of course, they will be seen on the live stream. It'll be in a small window in the corner. So you would see the remote participants in the live stream as well. And how do you expect to, or how would you think to handle executive session? Because, you know, in a remote environment, we can't really control necessarily who's in the room with the remote participant or whether that is being recorded. I don't know if that's a concern, but in an executive session environment, you know, that privacy could be an issue.
One option would be to leave the remote attender out of the executive session, so you don't have that problem. If they're aware that that's.
We don't do it, so. I don't see any problem with having a minute myself.
Okay. How are we gonna move them back there?
That's kind of the technical question. Because, you know, in order for them to be integrated with the room, they're going to be connected through the machine in here.
I go through phone there.
They just call on their land or their phone, man, like their cell phone call.
That's the question that I'm asking you.
I wouldn't think a phone would be fine.
Okay. So they can participate in executive sessions via phone?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to make those changes?
Well, and I guess if I may, what I would also ask is if they're going to participate by phone in executive session, that it be our phone, our room phone sitting right there behind them.
Right.
You know, we would set that up in that room to have it on there. So we're not going through a private cell phone or, you know, to make sure that the quality on their end is acceptable.
It's easier to hear on that one than it is on a cell phone.
Yeah.
I think that would be pertinent. Okay, so what do we need to do on that, or we just?
Well, I think it would be appropriate to have a motion adding those clarifications to your policy.
While we're talking about it, should we have like Darren and I kind of talked about it. I called him. I'd like an attendance, like you get so many you can do, and then after you miss so many you can't vote or something like that, so that everybody's just not doing Zoom every single time. It seemed like that very first meeting we had, I don't know, 3 or 4 people that didn't even show up. Would rather done it by Zoom. So should we do like you have 3 times you can come in on Zoom and vote, and then after that you can't be part of, you can be part of the meeting but not vote or something like that. You see what I'm saying?
I do. I see what you're saying.
Might help.
I think that, we can make those changes after we see how things are kind of going.
That's why I feel too. I mean, as far as let's see what we're getting into.
We're kind of
Works.
stepping out here and giving them this ability. And if we have to rein them in, I think we need to be ready to do that. Is that
That works for me. Yes.
okay? I mean, that was my argument for them not being on Zoom initially.
Right.
But now that we've done it, I think we need to go through it, see what problems we're going to have, and address those problems as they arise.
So this is just planning and zoning commission, or are we talking about any other meetings, or?
I think this is just planning and zoning, is it not?
That's what I thought.
So I guess to clarify in that, does that mean that only planning and zoning can have Zoom participants? Or, if a commissioner was away, would these same rules not apply for the same reasons? In order to, have a vote, you see those kind of, would the same logic not apply to other meetings that are held in this room?
I mean, are we making this a policy? I mean, should we make it?
If we do, I think we should go ahead and get it wrote out and everything that way, and then approve that policy.
I'll draft
So
something.
all of them will be Zoom. If we do it, the picture, we have to be on Zoom up on the screen.
Is that how you want it, or do you not?
That's without or nothing. I mean,
Right.
Well, and I guess to just my position or my clarification is that is, in my mind, watching commission meetings to vote. So for a person to participate is one thing, to listen is one thing, of course. We have multiple ways to do that. But in order for a person to vote, so that you get a positive indication of what their vote was or what their contribution to the meeting was, I think that being able to see them remotely is just as powerful. Like,
I am too.
either that or if you don't get to vote if you can't see it. I mean, you're not allowed to vote.
So will we go ahead and, can you prepare us the policy, Gary,
I'll draft something.
with
I'll work with
Chris's help?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that we can approve that next week?
On all boards then,
I think it would be on all boards at that point,
or? Okay.
right? Danny? Okay.
Very good. And the last thing, you guys asked for that camera. It is now installed and on our live stream. So the whole room is now
Okay.
seen from both angles.
Sounds good.
Okay? Thank you.
What about the bill at the electric bill? Did you ever-
So, great question. I'm having a difficult time getting them to answer me now. The customer service people are great, but they keep saying they have to talk to the field people to find out those details. And then last week, I also wasn't able to follow up with them. We had to run around and reprogram every radio in the county. So I ran out of time to call them back last week. If it's all right, I'd like to get back to you maybe next week. Let me try to really hammer them hard this week and get an answer for you.
I'd like to see what we can do to do away with it.
Yeah, it is. I have not forgotten. It's still on the list.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else for Chris?
Very good. Thank you.
Chris.
So no motion today then?
Right, we're gonna approve the policy,
Okay.
right? Don't you think that'll be cleaner? David?
I think so. I just wanted to make sure I didn't need to put something else in here.
Okay. Economic development, Jess? Okay. Sean?
While you're up here, Sean, I wanted to talk about that Lake Region deal too.
Okay. Next week, we have a public hearing.
Yeah, so next week, there's a public hearing on the 5-year plan for Lake Region Solid Waste Authority. I've advertised that, and I think was So is she gonna come down for that?
she's gonna try to make, she's got another appointment. She's gonna try to make that as well.
And then, in addition to that, this past week, I received information that the Solid Waste Authority had voted to admit Shawnee County to the group. And I know John and I talked about it just a little bit this morning, and he said it's kind of they're wanting some help with.
Their comprehensive plan, Shawnee County obviously is much larger than other members of this group. And there was quite a bit of work with the board in order to assure the other members that a large entity isn't going to consume a lot of staff and board time. And Shawnee County's intention and the way that it was proposed to us was their, I guess, buy-in and want to be a part of this program is for the comprehensive plan part of it. The rest of the programs or the things that would take a lot of time, they already have plans and programs in place and other things. Their interest is moving their comprehensive plan through the state like every other entity in the group. And Shay's got the wherewithal to help them and assist them with that. And they also bring, for grant purposes, a large area or region to the group. So they both benefit us and we benefit them, but it's not a position where there's a large group consuming a smaller group, if that makes sense at all. It seems mutually beneficial in the time that they would consume on the board, and their input would be equal to the other stakeholders in the group.
How large is their county?
I couldn't answer that.
It'd be the county that Topeka's in, so it is a large county. But part of what they need from us is there's interlocal agreements that have to be approved and memorandums of understanding, which was in that email I think I forwarded on out. May have just been yesterday when I was doing some work that I got that out.
Almost 179,000.
Yeah. So they're asking all the current member counties to approve these 3 agreements that were included in that email. And I have the signature pages ready if you're ready to do that, or I don't know if it would hurt to wait until she's here next week if there's any more discussion on it. I'm not sure how big a hurry there is on this part.
I don't believe there is a large hurry to it.
Who's coming next week?
Shay.
Yeah.
But if that's, I mean, that's the explanation you'll get from her as well, maybe a little more details in the surrounding, but their interest is solely in one part of the program, but they bring a large group to the table, which may assist us in other areas and benefit the group as a whole. And it's the opinion of the members of that group that they will not detract or consume too much staff time and other things with this need and what they're looking at.
Well, she's going to be here next week. We can just talk to her about it then, approve it then. Is that okay?
I'd like to wait.
It's fine with me.
She does have one other meeting. She's going to be pressed to get here, so we may have to wait on her a little bit, but that I'll let her know what occurred and see if she can push up the timeline. I've got a couple people coming in to see you, but they're a little later in the agenda. Rodney Warren from Foley will speak to you about the solid waste tractor and the estimates or bids for it and what that means to the longevity of that piece of equipment and what the piece of equipment versus the cost of the repair might be worth. Brandon Phillips from Heritage Tractor is going to talk on the lease program. The next thing I had for you was a quote for an 01 Gold Point inspection for Murphy tractor. It looks to be 1888.66 per unit for that Gold Point service. And then also for a repair of our 2016 John Deere 670 GP, which is a grader, the mechanical gasket and axle. And I just received an explanation of that from our North Shop mechanic. It says, while performing pre-trip, operator discovered oil inside the front right drive tire. It appeared that the axle oil seal has failed after going through the repair process. According to the manual we have, I determined that I'm not able to perform the repair because we do not have the specialty tools needed for the job. Dial indicator to check the in play for the bearing preload, oven to preheat the bearing in order to install on the axle shaft. He reached out to Murphy for a worst case scenario quote for the repair. The final cost will be determined after the tear down and inspection of components. That estimate was 5230.06, and as his email mentioned, that's the worst case scenario. They expect it to be, his best guess was somewhere near half of that, but we don't have the equipment in the shop to take care of that. As I said, the first document you saw was the Gold Point inspection. His explanation of that is that as these machines reach their hours, the cycle of inspection, like a lot of equipment, starts over again. In a certain number of hours, you go back to the original inspection and then go through the series of inspections per miles or hours on the machine. That inspection at 1888, that inspection is something or service that he believes they also need to handle based on the equipment and the computer diagnostics and programming that we don't have capabilities for doing.
How many units will that Gold Point inspection be going on?
That's per unit when they reach the hours, and you have 9 units, but I don't believe all of them are John Deere. So I'd have to give you the number of the John Deere units.
Okay.
And because the inspection or the service is below the price point at which I can prove, all I'm doing is informing you on those that we don't have the equipment and why it's occurring. What I'm asking for is up to $5230.06 for the repair on the 2016 John Deere 670 GP.
Okay. Any questions on that repair?
Gotta be fixed.
I'll make a motion that we allow Sean to spend up to $5,230.06 for the mechanical gasket and axle repair on the 2016 John Deere 670 GP road grader.
I'll second it.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Next thing I had for you is just information. The new KDOT Director of Aviation, Ray Self, will speak to the commission on March 4th. hopefully answer some of those questions that we've had difficulty finding or making contact to get those answers. The next is an overhead door quote for the south shop on the south bay door. The quote was from Overhead Door at $6,728. This quote includes the top section, intermediate section, and angle iron that has to be repaired, and to reinforce the top door with angle iron. Apparently the top and the intermediate sections of that door have been damaged. I can't tell you the age of the door, but it looks like it's been there for years, so it's not surprising that we have parts that are starting to wear out on such a large item.
They're replacing the door or just putting angle iron on it?
I'm sorry?
Are they replacing the door or are they putting angle iron? Or just-
Replacing door sections and putting angle iron to stiffen it. I have a top and an intermediate section and then 20 foot of angle.
That's $6,000?
7.
What's a new door cost?
That large of a door? I can't answer that. I don't know anything about those doors, but I could imagine a new door that large that is insulated would be very healthy sum.
You thinking he should try to get another quote, or what are you thinking?
Is the only quote you got?
That's the only quote we have. That's the door manufacturer in our area that is most commonly used for service and the one that we've used on these repairs. I can check on these type of doors. I know later in my agenda, I'll talk to you about ADA compliant doors, and I went through a large number of door vendors to try to get someone that we weren't too far south or too far north out of metropolitan areas to get someone to service our area. But I'd be happy to go out and reach out and try to get another one. It's,
I don't know what a door runs, but it seems really high.
We could look for another bid.
There's a guy out of Nevada that I've used at my house. I can't remember the name of his company. Pretty good guy, small company. I can give you his number. You can reach out to him too.
that would be helpful. As I said, I've reached out on several of these, and
I mean, I don't know if that's a good number or not. It just seems really high.
the area seems to be the problem because we're a little far south to get some of the larger companies to come down and deal with these.
Okay.
I have an application from Pleasanton for assistance on a gravel road, Magnolia Street, from 10th to Park. This is a street just north of our shop in Pleasanton. They're asking for assistance due to not having the equipment to maintain that road. The road's got large potholes and needs work. We're talking about a short area, and we're training 2 new radar operators at that shop. So geographically, it may serve as a purpose for training for those operators and something that we can get done. if there's gravel or anything to be placed on the road, they've agreed to do that as well.
I thought we agreed a few weeks ago that we weren't accepting any applications until we got everything caught up and figured out.
We did. So, you wanna table this one, deny it?
What do you guys think?
We've got a lot of roads we haven't hit since the wet weather. I know that. There's a lot of ruts and potholes in our roads yet that haven't been fixed. I mean, I'm not saying we don't do it, but I think we've got a lot of roads to work on our own right now.
Do we need a motion on that to deny that, or?
And we're just denying it for this time being, or?
Just a failure to act on it would in effect deny it, so. Just depends on how explicit you want to get.
I mean, I thought we came to the conclusion that 2 or 3 weeks ago that we weren't gonna accept anything right yet.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. I'm fine with holding off on it for now.
I do.
Okay.
Next thing I had for you was
Just-
I'm sorry.
For the minutes, just a comment that commission did not approve the request at this time due to work that needs to be done on our roads.
Correct.
Next thing I had for you was resolution 2024-05 on surplus property. The two items listed, one is a vac unit to pull coolant from equipment or vehicles. We no longer use that type of coolant. I believe is it R15 that is R12 that's listed on there, rendering the machine useless in the shop. We're asking that it be surplused, and also the other item is I'm going to mess this up, a conduit or a tester to test the connectivity or conduit of wires.
Conductivity tester?
Yes.
Power probe circuit tester kit.
Yes, and as we switch mechanics in that shop, we have searched out all of the vehicles and locations, but we're unable to find the rest of the tester. We're not asking to get rid of it, but pull it from the property list. We'll set it aside, but at this point, it's a non-inventory item because parts are missing from it. So we'd like to pull it from the property list. If we end up auctioning in parts or what we have off in the future, that's fine. But at this point, it's a non-inventory item because essential parts of it are missing.
Well, what happens with it then when we take it off the list? We just shelf it or what?
We'll shelf it. It'll be a non-inventory item, and we'll continue to try to find the other parts. But if we're unable to find it, we hold the shop foremans accountable for everything that's on that list. And we know that as we went through a series of mechanics in that shop, for whatever reasons, we couldn't find the parts to that piece of equipment or where they were stored in vehicles or in the shop. And it's a little difficult to hold the shop foremans accountable for that property when we can't transfer it to them.
So once we take it off the list, what if it just disappears off the shelf?
It won't. My intention would be to bring the item here until the other parts of it are found. It'll be something that I'll remove from the shop and take responsibility for.
So you're gonna bring it in here?
Yes, you're talking about something that is a small bag.
Any other questions on the surplus property? All right, is there a motion to approve resolution 2024-05? I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2024-05, declaration of surplus property for the Everco Reclaimer R12 model and the Power Probe Circuit Tester Kit.
I'll second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
Next thing I had for you was HVAC service bids throughout the county. Do need to advise you that one of the bids I received on time, and one of the bids was brought in late or past the deadline, but I do have two bids, however you want to handle those.
You want to open them both?
What's our policy state on that?
You have the right to waive the deadline if you want to, because it was just an arbitrarily set deadline anyway. But just keep in mind that if you disallow the bid that came in late, then you're dealing with a non-competitive
Bid
situation.
process.
And so what you would probably end up doing is having to go back out and bid again, in which case you probably get the same two bids that you've got now. So
Okay.
it's up to you. You have the right to waive the deadline if you want to.
I'm good with waiving, it.
Okay.
See what it is.
Waive the deadline and open those bids. Give you the big one.
This is just a all county building bid, I mean, for all county maintenance.
This is for servicing all the units with the exception of the ones that currently have contracts on it.
All right, the one I have is for Myrick Mechanical. And the bid is for $6,542.72 per year, payable in installments of $1,635.68 per quarter. Do that.
What'd you ask for in it? Did you ask for yearly, quarterly? What'd you ask for?
I'll have to look at the bid specs on it. I can't answer that right off the cuff. But if we do have a quote for whatever it is, we'd ask that you hand those back so we can qualify them against the bid request.
Yeah, Weber Heating and Cooling. Option one would be semi-annual, $75 per unit or $3,900 a year. Option two is quarterly, is $60 a unit or $6,240 a year. You wanna see that?
You wanna look at that? Okay. We'll give these back.
Okay,
Another bid that was not on our agenda for the park roof, for this bid, we only had one bid.
it's the shelter house roof at the park.
Correct.
Okay, so roofing force out of Olathe. Metal roof directly over shingles of $19,589.55. They did give an alternate metal roof over 1x4 battens over shingles for $20,809.05.
Did we patch some of that roof to get by for a while?
I had Randy scheduled to come and meet with you, and unfortunately, because of a family issue or medical issue, he was unable to be here today, so I couldn't have him answer those questions. I'll try to get him back in next week.
Okay. I'd like to wait till he
Right.
talk to him about it.
You want to look at that or?
I don't need to look at it.
Okay. Were you at a good stopping point?
I am at a good stopping point, and I believe
I keep getting phone calls about the elderly center. I got one right before the meeting started, actually. Where are we at on it?
I'm sorry.
Elderly center in Pleasanton.
Okay. I've checked, and it's been, I want to say it's over 6 days since the last time I was in the building. And at that point, we're still waiting on the bathroom remodel to be complete in order to do the painting so we can do the floor.
They are on me pretty hard.
And rightfully so, right?
I got a voicemail. It says, Danny, this is so-and-so again. They have done nothing to the building, so would appreciate if I could if you could get a hold of me about it sometime. I mean, that's our county. That's our county, and I really would like something done. I'm sorry to bother you. Thank you again. I got that at 9:02 this morning. So
Okay.
they call me weekly, I think.
Okay.
I'd just like to get a date on it, a for sure date, and you can get it done or what we need to do. So
I will reach out and try to see where we're at with that.
Sounds good. So an update next week?
Yes. And then I'm at a good stopping point if you want to take your other schedules, and I'll come back to you with the rest.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Jay Allen from Stars.
Okay, thank you for your time. I provided a list of large budget items to you guys. We can dig a little deeper into the small budget items. If you're interested, I don't know that there's a lot of purpose. That changes fairly rapidly. Small budget donations go to buy paper towels and mean green cleaning stuff, things like that. I don't know that we need to go that deep into the woods. And so what I've provided is contributions that we've got that are large budget items from Fort Scott Community College, from the USDs that are involved. We now have 5 school districts involved. 235 out of Uniontown is actually touring our facility today. They've brought 30 students up to tour the facility for next year. And so growth is exponential.
How many students do you have
currently?
So fall semester, we had 91 students enrolled. Out of the 91, 16 were CNA, which is a one semester class. And so they got their certificate. To my knowledge, we had 100% pass rate on CNAs, and they have got their certificate that most of them are already working.
Okay.
And so
You don't have any kind of financial statement for each year where we can look at your income and your expenses?
there's no income. We don't make income. We do projects and people will donate for the.
To me, that would be on the income side. What I'm saying is,
You
break
can.
it down and show that.
Off the top of my head, I can get you pretty close.
I think we'd like to have something that's more formal.
Well, I'm just saying is, and not that the taxpayers don't want to see where their money, that don't mind where their money's going, but they'd like to see what we're doing.
Sure, yeah.
Saying that I'd like to see a yearly report myself.
So just so we're clear, there has been no income. I mean, there's donations and we're talking.
We just gave you 220,000, right?
That's right. I mean, that's
Okay.
and that's on the list. It's
So just go ahead and go down through your thing that you sent out to us.
okay. So big picture, and the donations from like the bus stops and some of the little projects that we're doing. I mean, we're talking less than $5,000. I will provide as much detail as you guys are interested in looking at. So Fort Scott Community College, to date, $282,000 in wages that they've contributed. $400,000 simulator package. The machines, equipment, and supplies are listed line item. The allied health is probably a low ballpark. It was used equipment. Replacement value would be quite a bit higher than that. We're looking at 755,000 large items, that's excluding the small items that they've contributed toward startup of the program. The school districts, we're looking at approximately 60,000, $15,000 for fixed cost, which is gas, water, trash, electric, just the cost of operating
So
the
the schools
business.
are paying that, you say, or?
The schools have committed to paying that. Right now, 344 has paid all of that. STARS has reimbursed 344 for the 2023 last year. We have submitted to the schools to pay that, and the response has been good. I know 344 is all on board with everybody else taking their Prairie View School District has passed the resolution. Jayhawk has passed the resolution. Uniontown just started in January. I let them know that this is probably coming. They had no issues with it. And the message hasn't been out to Lewisburg. There has been no request made from Lewisburg, which we have 8 students from Lewisburg right now. I don't anticipate there being problems, but the formal request has not been sent yet.
Does Pleasanton still own the building?
Pleasanton still owns the building. And so if we go on down this list, the county's contributed, estimated 330,000 is what we estimate the mill at. 220,000 has been received. We've paid Pleasanton approximately 124,000. That's the first half of the remodel, and catches us up with what they've invested in utilities. Pleasanton School District, smallest school district in the county, they can't shoulder the burden for everybody, and it's not fair to ask them to shoulder the burden for everybody. The costs from the county contribution are outlined. These are the big costs. I didn't go too deep into the woods on, the little cost. I mean, there's a cost to keeping a building running.
So the money we're putting into it's going into the building or helping with the building that Pleasanton owns.
My idea, yes. So my idea of STARS is we have a community college campus in Linn County. This is a community college campus. All of our students at STARS are getting college credit, most of them leading to certificates, most of them leading to employment. Last year we had 13 students graduate. We had 10 employed before they crossed the stage of graduation for high school. This year, we're going to have about 35 graduate. We've already had some that are already employed. We've had a couple students that graduated high school, took one semester at Stars and got full employment after one semester. We had one lady that took 2 months of heavy equipment, was able to pass the test for 101, dropped out mid-semester. And so the employers are lining up for them. So my idea is that it's a community college campus. And if this was in Bourbon County, the taxpayers would support the campus. The college supports my materials and my instructor salaries. That's on for the college. College is able to bill for what we're teaching, and they're on the hook for the materials that I need to teach the class and for the instructor salaries. And we've got good instructors.
So on that, how is that funded through? That's the one that's funded through Senate Bill
155.
155.
Yeah, and
So
that may have changed. The original Senate bill was 155. I think there may been some rewording, so
so is there any concern with Fort Scott being able to continue to provide those resources?
I am not concerned with that. I know Fort Scott's got some press in the
Right.
that has been, and maybe some of it is deserved, a little bit negative. They have paid their bills. Now, some of them to the contractors have been a little bit late, and so, to my knowledge, we don't have any bills through Stars that have not been paid. Now, could the commitment have been greater? I think it could have been. You know, have we made do with? I would defy you to see somebody that's done less or done more with less. We've had a lot of large equipment. For instance, we just got a 6-pack welder donated. It wasn't Fort Scott Community College. It wasn't county. It wasn't USD's. You're looking at a $30,000 welder. And we got that from private industry. The private industry values what we're doing. And that was just donated a week and a half ago. And so the way we have got to where we are currently, and remember, that was only a month ago that I received any money from the county. The way we got to where we are currently is on the backs of my instructors and on the backs of the industry that has supported us. Fort Scott has helped a lot, but they did not get us to where we're at currently. We've got there through alternative means. And we continue to reach out to industry. We continue. My anticipation is the need from the county is not going to be large, and it's not going to be for much longer. We need to own the building. USD 344 does not need to own the building. Once Stars owns the building, the need from the county is going to go essentially away. And so it's up to you guys for what your vision is for what this looks like. I mean, if we continue the growth rate we're on, we're going to need more money to buy another building. It's if you value what we're doing and the work that we're doing, turn us loose. Let us do it. We've got a good team. We've proven what we're doing. I think the proof is there. Yes, I know some of you guys have been by. Have you been by since the remodel and kind of seen?
No, I haven't.
I welcome you to come by. It's a completely different place. It looks like a classroom. And so the shop looks like a shop. The class area looks like classrooms. I mean, it's something to be proud of. And so
is the remodel complete?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The remodel's complete. And so the front area, the classroom area is set. And so when you're looking at remodeling, you're looking at getting fire marshals involved and site surveys and, losing your occupancy. And so we don't want to do any more of that than we have to. And so there's going to be some needs, as with growth, there's going to be some needs. We have 3 restrooms in the facility for 91 kids. That's challenging. And so there probably will be needed remodel. The vision, at least my vision, and the board shares this vision, is that the county is supporting the campus. That's what we're asking the county to do, support the campus for our community college. This is our community college. The schools are supporting transportation. They're supporting their student needs. and they're helping with our fixed cost. And Fort Scott Community College is supporting supplies and instructor salaries. And I think that model works. And that's what we've used, and that's where we're at.
Okay.
More details are available if needed. I think the more details you get, the more you get bogged down with minutia. Larger items we are close. We are close to where we need to be.
Do you guys have like unpaid internships, or how's that work? Like, so when I went to a trade school, I had to go to an internship I was placed in an internship that wasn't paid. It was part of the program. You have to complete so many hours to move on to the workforce.
My new favorite saying has become Rome wasn't built in a day. That was on the radar potentially for last year. We didn't have enough students. There wasn't an interest. The internship will not be unpaid. We had some industry that reached out to us that was like, we're willing to pay to have an intern. And on the backside of that, we can probably get college credit for that internship. To answer your question is we probably will not have unpaid internships because they won't be competitive enough. People won't take them. And so they're probably going to be paid internships. This year's junior class coming through is pretty big. There's going to be opportunities for that yet. We just haven't started working on that yet. That's our workforce guy is doing that. And what we're trying to do is, if you're interested in welding, we want you to know what welding in the summer looks like. It's hot. You're wearing leathers and it's hot. Make sure that that's what you're interested in. If you're interested in heavy equipment, we're trying to get you, on pieces of equipment, and it may be servicing the equipment in the summer. It may be working nights when they're not using the equipment, but we're trying to get those internships, available. And it's just, we're so new. We had a small senior class last year. We got a larger one this year. We're learning as we go. Education's hard. This is hard. Building a school from scratch is hard. I've never tried to do a colonoscopy blindfolded. I think I could probably do it, but education is hard. It takes some time, to get your feet under you. And our instructors that we have, they're not college teachers. They're instructors. These guys are people that have been out in the industry. And so we've used those contacts to build us where we're at. So I think we have a good thing going. If you agree, we'll keep doing what we're doing. Anticipating down the road, I think the last thing that we need is to purchase the building. We've got our remodel essentially done, and then the need from the county is going to be much less. And so there's fixed costs that we're going to have. Air conditioner breaks, there are things that are hard to predict. Water heaters, things like that. I mean, there's going to be fixed costs to doing this, but the campus will essentially be paid for. The remodel is essentially paid for. And you might be thinking, okay, why didn't you buy the building before you remodeled? You can't teach 91 students in a building that's not set up for 91 students. That order had to work the way that it worked. And so, we have 91 kids and we have to have classrooms for them. So I would encourage anybody to stop by. I think if you haven't stopped by, you're going to be surprised at what you've seen.
Yeah.
More details, we get enough with where we're at now. These are large budget items, but this is the meat of it. This is 95% of the funding in STARS right now. The other 5% going to be pretty small and a little bit time consuming, but if that's what's needed, that's what's needed.
I'd just like to see where it goes. I mean,
Okay.
what you're getting and where the money's going is what I'd like to see.
Where the money's going is buying cleaning supplies, buying mops, it's boring stuff, buying toilet paper.
I mean, I'd just like to see a report on it, just what it is and where it's going.
Okay.
Okay.
You want the report by next week, 2 weeks?
What do you think? 2 weeks?
That'd be fine. I mean, it's-
Okay.
Okay. I'll email a report and we'll get as much detail as we can get.
Sounds good.
Thanks for
Thank
your
you,
time.
Jay. Okay, we'll open it up for public comment. A citizen desiring to speak on an item not on the agenda may do so at this time. Discussion is limited to 5 minutes and the commission will not take action at this time. Items introduced under public comment may become agenda items for a later time or date. Is there any public comment?
Jason Cahill. I live at 17103 Wakefield Road, Pleasanton, Kansas. I'm here today to talk to y'all about the solar deal, obviously. According to this letter, EDF, they're continuing the project as planned. So the moratorium and everything that everybody's been in here fighting for is basically null and void. The people from the solar company have basically told all the residents there that they're going to do as they want and they're going to keep on going. I think we obviously know that the residents don't want this, or you might think they do and he might think they do, but there's people here that know that we don't. We all don't, everybody here. I think that basically the only way to get to the bottom of it is the county vote. I've heard that the county vote cannot take place to decide on this matter, but it will show you how your county feels. And then y'all, as commissioners that work for your county, could make the correct decision based off that. I got some definitions for y'all this morning. Fool's gold. An item that an owner believes that is valuable that in reality is not so. I believe we've run into this in this county at this point in time. I have another definition for you. Reality, the world or state of things as they actually are, opposed to as an idealistic or notional idea of them. Okay? I think the reality of this is that you sit up there and say you went through due process in informing your citizens and the county. Reality shows that you did not, by the people that come here every week, that miss their jobs. They're missing out on money to supply for their families because they have to fight for the ground that they've worked their whole entire lives to live on. Because everybody wants to do this around them. The revisions of Article 14 was just basically kicking it down the road. We all know that. That's what you was trying to do. That's what you did. You've kicked it down the road, kicked it down the road. There's going to have to be a time where we got to get to the bottom of it. What the county really wants. Revising the articles ain't going to do that. None of that's going to do that. Basically, the only way to do it is put it to a county vote. Let your citizens decide what they want. I hear Danny. I hear you all the time up here talking about, we want them to build us hotels and this, that, and other. You know what happens when you get them big city things? You get them big city problems. You want your kids getting shot at the parade in Pleasanton? Because that's what happens in the big city. Did you all not see that? That's what happens. The trash, the litter, the scumbags, everything. When you build hotels and all that, that's what you bring with it. You get all that. 90% of the people that live in these communities down here live here for a reason. Because of the country way of life. How peaceful it is. Because of your country folk neighbors. And because I can call anybody sitting here right now at any time, day or night. And they will be at my house to help me. Is she in on my conversation?
No, I asked her to please not interrupt you.
I could call any of these folks at any point in time and they will come over and help me. That's what Linn County and living down here is about to the people that live here. Why do we want to change this? I mean, is there not other ways? Surely we can find out another way besides bringing all the big city problems down here. Because we don't need that. I mean, I don't have kids, but I know you guys probably do. I wouldn't want to leave my kids this. A pile of solar panels next to my ground. Why would I want that for them? They got kids. They're my neighbors. I see their kids out playing in their yard all the time. Running all over there, fishing in them quarries and stuff. That's why we live here. That's why we pay taxes to live here. If we wanted to live in the city, we'd go to the city. It's not that damn far away. It's just right up the road. I'm personally pretty disappointed in the display of actions that I've seen out of one of our county commissioners, and I will call you out by name, Mr. Hightower.
Okay.
I think that anything that can be discussed with the solar company at this point in time in the game we're in could be done right here. in a county commissioners meeting with your other commissioners present, not sitting at the local cafe. Obviously, you know, everybody in this county is watching what you're doing. Everybody. We know you weren't doing nothing wrong. You know why? Because if you was, you'd have to be really stupid to go do it in the town cafe where word gets around pretty fast in this town, and you know it does. So, it seems to me you were just basically sitting in the cafe trying to slap your citizens in the face. And that's pretty upsetting to me. So, seems how you probably have more information than anybody else does since you had the meeting with them. Can you tell us how sweet the deal's gotten now for you?
I don't have any new information to share.
You got something more than the rest of us. You were in the meeting, none of us were.
Go over money, like
Yeah.
as far as like what the county is going to be receiving. I remember watching the commissioner meeting where there were some numbers that he couldn't provide, and he was supposed to come up with them. Did he?
EDF.
It's a continuation, we never.
So I don't have any concrete numbers.
Papers on that desk.
There were.
The table. What information did he provide to you that day? Did you provide it to everyone else on the commission?
No, I did not. So
Okay. What's an agricultural based community to y'all? Is that what we live in? Because that's what I thought I lived in. That's what these people think they live in. We're going to turn it into an industrial community. Because that's really what this is. This ain't a farm. I don't know who the hell decided to put the name farm anywhere close to the solar deal. Not when it's 8,000 acres. That's industrial. That ain't no farm. Farm's got cows and horses and grass on it, bro. Crops. Farmers. People that care about the land. Stewards of the land. It's in the Bible. And I'll leave you with this. I know what God's country is. I do. And I know where it's at. You know where it's at? It's right north of Trading Post, Kansas. And I see it every day when I pull in and every morning when I get up and the sun starts coming up and I'm feeding cows. That's God's country to me. And I don't know what kind of man God made y'all. I know what kind of man he made me. And he made me the kind of man that's going to stand up for what I believe in. And I promise you, I'm going to stand here before you till the bitter end. And I will stand and fight until the end. And you all have to live with me when this is done. Not Mike Christie. He's going to go back to Johnson County where he belongs. Guess what? I'm going to stay in Linn County. And I'm going to stay the way I am about it, even when it's over. So remember that.
thank you, Jason. Is there any other public comment?
Allie Hamilton, I just had a quick question regarding the forum. I know you guys can't answer questions, but some of the things that we were wanting to know, can it be live streamed? And then also we were gonna get the highway signs out and also the text caster from the schools. So just following up on those three things. Those are, I think, the only three that we haven't got finalized yet, that the county said that they would do for us.
I don't see anything wrong with the live streaming it myself. You good?
Can we do it from that location with,
I don't know why we couldn't. I mean, I'm technology. We got technology somewhere, I suppose, don't we? We can do it.
When we first started talking about this, Darren had mentioned that.
you're not at the stand? Okay.
That's about it. The other thing, we had submitted a core request regarding Gary's billing, and he sent back an email. I believe it was from him, but it was from David, that basically we have to have the commissioner's approval to authorize the release for his billing. So we're looking for the billing that we requested. I don't know if you want me to read the whole thing or
Sure.
if, okay. So basically this was from Gary. It said, because certain information in billing records can be privileged, it will not be necessary to review the records requested to be determined. The process could take anywhere from a few minutes to a few hours. And then it just said, I would recommend notifying the requester and have the commissioners act to release the information.
Okay.
would that be able to be answered today?
I don't.
Okay.
Thank you, Ally. Sherry, did you have something you'd like to add?
Just commenting on the fact that we have been told in the past that it would be live streamed and nobody's followed through on it.
Can it be live streamed?
That's a Chris question.
That's what we're told last time.
As far as the notifications from the schools, they'll be going out this week. And we're going to work on getting the deals set up.
The sign.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'd like to see a sign in too, as far as when people come in, whether they're Linn County residents, whether they're resident of Linn County, to know who all's there to the meeting.
So was that decided by the ad hoc committee or?
So I didn't.
A sign-in sheet whenever when everybody that comes to the.
Yeah, so on the publication, they've got a name, address, where they live. There's.
Will be a sign-up sheet. Or
Yeah, and we can have a
sign-in
sign-in sheet
That's what
at
I'd
the
like
form.
to see, just so I can see how many people is
Yep.
for and against. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, where
Yep.
they're for pro solar or anti-solar.
Yeah, we
And
can
if they're
have,
actually a Linn County resident.
yeah, we can have a sign-in sheet at the
A
desk.
Linn County resident or a Linn County property owner?
Well, they can put it either way, you know, Linn County resident or Linn County property owner, so we show what it is.
Okay.
I'd like to know whether it was Linn County resident or Linn County property owner. You can put it, two columns there.
That's fine.
They'd be a resident or an owner too.
Okay.
And I also got with Randy, and he's gonna publish it on his notification system also.
So it's going out to the schools this week on all three schools are gonna put it on their notice.
I haven't got a response back from Pleasanton, but from Sean and Chris at Prairie View, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Is there any other public comment? It's fine.
My name is Amanda Reed. I'm from Leasing. I'm going to take my solar stuff in kind of a different direction. You guys have heard the wildlife and the green aspect of all of this. I want to know about the money aspect. We keep hearing that KCP&L Evergy is going to close. It's going to close. What are we going to do? They pay our county $16.5 million a year. Before I get too far into where I want to go, Clearway's pilot program wants to pay us $418-ish a year, correct?
Yes, first 10.
Okay. Why is it only for 10 years?
Because they have to start paying taxes after that point.
Okay.
And that's what was set up by the state of Kansas in their tax abatement process.
Okay.
Oh.
So is the 418, is that stuck in stone?
No.
Because I feel like Danny, you're the what if. We have no industrial. We lose KCP&L. What do we do? This number is crap. How do we come back from the 16.5 with less than $500,000 a year for 10 years? Sorry. KCP&L also contributes to our schools. Is the solar company going to do that? The STARS program is asking for money. Support it. I've got family that lives in South Dakota, live off I-90. And they have great big truck stops. They don't contribute to the county. The county doesn't participate with them. Make them participate. But I think you guys are lowballing. If this thing has to come here, make your pockets deep. Make them pay for it. Make them want to be here. Don't settle. That's all I got.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? If not, we'll go ahead and close public comment. Rodney Warren.
Commissioner Rodney, I told you, is here to speak to you about the landfill track loader, and I sent out the quote. You should have got it.
Thank you.
So we have your 953C cat loader, track loader down in our shop in Chanute. And I did an inspection on it. I looked at the undercarriage. I pretty much looked over the whole machine, put together this repair quote. Just to give you an idea of the overall shape of it, the undercarriage has got about, probably it's wore in a 70-75% range. It, with the repairs that I'm suggesting today, you should get another 1,000 hours out of it at least. And that, depending upon how many hours a year you put on it, should give you several more years of runtime. The biggest thing it came in for was it's getting antifreeze in the coolant system. This happens when the injector, they've got some seals on them inside of a cup, and they start leaking. They get hard and brittle, and then they start leaking and pressurizing fuel into the coolant system. To fix that, we typically replace the injectors, pull the pre-cups out, reseal them, and put new pre-cups back into it, along with the new injectors. So I've got that work listed on here. The work for the undercarriage, we're going to replace the front idlers. That's where most of the wear is at right now, and that's on some linkage that is attached to the idlers, and it's actually cheaper to buy a new idler with the links already on it and everything put together, so that it goes on quickly and we don't have a lot of extra labor in it to disassemble and reassemble the old idlers. We can buy the new ones actually cheaper than what we can disassemble and reassemble them for. Them two items, plus flushing out the engine cooling system, get that fuel and stuff out of there, and do the engine oil change, because it's contaminated too. We'll do all that. The price listed on there was $17,904 altogether. Just asking for the commission's permission for us to proceed on that. If you got any questions on that, I'd be glad to try and answer them for you.
What is this machine worth?
So that's tough for me to answer. I'm not a salesman, and I don't really handle machine sales or anything. What I will say is that with this, the condition the machine is in right now, if you didn't do anything to it, it's just about a salvage machine is all it would be. I would recommend at least doing this amount of work to it to get it to where it's runnable, and within another year or two, it would be a good trading material machine, or to sell outright and get a newer machine in to replace it.
What year is there? How many hours are on it?
This has got 9,300 hours, I believe, something like that on it. Sean, do you know the year that it was manufactured? I'm thinking it's like an 03 or 4, somewhere in that range.
Possible.
I didn't bring that with me today, but it's in that 20 years of age range. I do know that.
You think there's 3 or 4 more years of life in it, is what you're saying?
I think, with these repairs, you can get several more years of life out of it. If you're running it in that 400 to 500 hours a year range, the undercarriage will make it that long. I don't think without any problem.
It's never been replaced, then, I'll take it.
It was replaced like 2011, I believe, 2012. We put new link assemblies on it and some new rollers on it. We didn't do anything with the idlers then at that time. They were still in pretty good shape, and we didn't want to, there wasn't enough wear in the linkage on them idlers to justify replacing it at that time. So here we are, we've run out another probably 4,000 hours since then. So, I mean, it's done its job. It's, you've got your value out of them. And if we just replace them idlers and the linkages now, we can get enough more life or adjustment out of the rails to keep them tight where we need them. It'll go ahead and run on out till where it would wear out eventually.
So on our equipment schedule with our insurance, that's listed as a 2005 model.
Okay.
Okay.
19 years old, so. It was right there in that time frame anyway. Amount of work we're looking at here, we're probably looking at about 2 weeks worth of work, approximately. Time I get parts ordered in and get it on completed.
I also know what it's insured for on our schedule. I don't know if that really relates to the value on it or not, or if you want to hear that number.
What is it?
Currently, it's on our equipment schedule for $94,500.
Sean, is this in our equipment plan anywhere to be replaced anytime soon, or?
I believe the next 24 months. I don't have his request.
To replace the whole machine?
Yes.
What's it roughly an undercarriage cost for it if you?
If we put a whole complete new undercarriage under it, installed, you're probably somewhere in the $25,000 to $30,000 range. The thing I'll remind you of, this machine is starting to approach, I think it's around 9,300 hours on it. Typically, once they get over 10,000 hours, you get up in the 12,000 hour range. The engine's going to be close to needing rebuilt. The high stat transmission, we're looking at probably doing a rebuild on. You know, both of those items we could have, and final drives too. I mean, we could be into $100,000 worth of repairs going through all of that really quick.
Machines both work 75 probably, as
it sits, or after the repairs?
after the repairs without the undercarriage.
After the repairs, again, I don't set prices, so I'm going to leave that up to the salesman.
There's an 05 with right at 700 hours that's worth 89,000. So just on a machinery trader website.
Yeah. You can look on Machine or Trader and kind of get a pretty much of a guesstimate about what machine values are running, you know, for that age. And then you look at your hours and everything.
Thoughts?
It's gotta be fixed. No, I don't know. It's not running.
Yeah, it's a down machine right now. It's can't use it. So
And this ain't the first time I've heard about it. I heard about it here years ago when I first became commissioner, so I know it. And this is what I was talking about, like when we were assessing the landfill, that we were including everything, including machines like this and trucks and roll-offs and everything like that. And that's what I wanted to get settled, but I guess we never did, so. It's gotta be fixed. What do they do with it? They push trash and compact it down with it?
Largest use of it for C&D. You put some C&D pile is the largest use for that machine.
Do we have a motion to approve the repairs totaling $17,904.98?
I mean, is that an exact number? Do we need to give?
That's an approximation. Once we get in there, it could change a little bit, but I don't expect it to fluctuate much. I'd say it would not go 10% either way at all. So should be pretty close.
Should we do an allowance up to 18,000?
Yeah.
$100.
I don't even know when I had it up.
If it goes over 10%, you'll be at 1,800 more, right?
Yeah.
So,
So we'd need to be at, if we're giving them the 10%, you know. So would you do 19,000? That'd be $1,100 over. It wouldn't quite get them to the 10%, but would allow for some.
Good for that.
Okay. Are you making that motion?
Yeah, I'm trying to find where it was. I'll just make a motion that we approve the repairs on the 953C for the landfill, with Foley for a price up to 19,000.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved and seconded to approve the repairs on the landfill's 953C dozer up to 19,000. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll get started on it and get it back to you as quick as we can.
Okay. Hello. Good. How are you? Sure. Thank you.
Commissioner Brandon's here from Heritage Tractor to speak about the lease program Commissioner Johnson brought to our attention. I've also asked him to talk about another service advisor, and he's provided me information on that as well.
Good morning. On the packet there on the left side, in the inside, the first page is going to kind of outline that customer service advisor. A lot of us are kind of aware now that Deere's open kind of the door to allow customers to work more on their equipment. One restriction it is going to have is it's not going to let you update controllers. And the reason is, I take a combine, for example, if you update a controller in the incorrect sequence, it can basically fry all the controllers. So they don't want people making that mistake. But you guys can look at purchasing service advisor. With this being new, we've had some purchase it, but this will grow. So that's why we're kind of structuring this layout program. On the pricing for customer service advisor, it's an annual subscription for $2,340. If you want to lease a computer through us, it's $1,450 a year. That's totally up to you guys. You can look at getting a computer. The only thing we'd ask is to communicate which computer you do get for it. And then, the ag download machine, what you'll need there is 160. Then there's dealer training and support. If you've never used the Deere system before, I would highly recommend that for whoever is going to do that, just to familiarize them with, the ins and outs of working service advisor. And then, what they call electronic link is the EDL. That's what connects the laptop to the actual machine, and you would need that. Then your costs after, let's say year one and moving forward is $23.40 a year if you keep doing it, depending on the laptop, if you do that as well. So this does allow customers or you guys to work on your tractors more. Kind of on that, I would be curious to get more information on what machines you do have, and that will kind of determine the route to go on that.
Feasible or not.
Right. I mean, if you only have one machine, we may need to look at a different route. If you have several, then, you can start seeing it pay for itself. One thing I do a lot with a lot of farmers is going through parts and service bills, because it can add up real quick on keeping this machine equipment running. So that kind of gets me into the second part. Deere offers a rental program for townships, county, governmental, and we've been doing a lot of them with a lot of counties and towns. What it kind of entails, it can go from a 5115M all the way up to a 6175R, and there's a very big price difference between those two tractors, but they keep it under a rental program price of either 9 months, total of 300 hours for $19.92 an hour. And then it goes up to $29.88 an hour for every hour over that. Or you could do the 12-month program for 350 hours at $20.72. Every hour over that is $31.08. Things I've gone through with other townships is a lot of them, when they start adding up their costs per hour for a machine, whether it's through parts, service, and the machine itself and depreciation, it's costing them a tremendous amount more than $20.72 an hour. So that's why it's a very attractive program that we've had a high take rate on. And then one question was, well, if I pay $7,200 for this tractor, I have nothing left in return. That is true, but when you start looking at what a tractor's cost you over the last 5 years, it's much more than $7,200 a year. So that's where it gets down to your cost per hour reducing this. And the benefit is it's a 1-year program, so it's under complete comprehensive warranty during that program. Then it's also covered under insurance. So the deductible on insurance is $500. It's $1,000 if it's a fire. But, so you have that insurance covered on the tractor, and it is under comprehensive dealer warranty. Then lastly, there's 2 services on that tractor while you would have it. The first one is a break-in, which we come and do at no cost. The second one is an oil change, which we provide the oil and filters, and it's up to you to pay us or if you want to do it yourself. So that's just what I kind of wanted to go over. The other pages back there are just, equipment people have asked me for. on pricing, just so they kind of understand. And then on the right side is a breakdown of most equipment guys ask and kind of your county discounts or township discounts for that kind of equipment. But yeah, the main focus today was talking about the customer service advisor and then the rental program on tractors. So
Now, what if a tire gets cut or anything like that? Who's,
the tire would be on you. If it's, you know, operation damage, operator damage, that's going to be on you to cover it. You know, if a tree limb falls on a hood, busts the hood, you know, you're probably looking at several $1,000s. So you'd be better doing the deductible for the insurance and replacing the hood. Let's say the tractor rolls over, we're going to need you, find you a replacement tractor. Say you had 100 hours on it. Well, we still owe you a tractor for another 250 hours, whether it's that one or a different one. So, that's also part of the program. And this is Deere sponsored because I've had a lot of people ask me, you know, can farmers get this? So, this is only for governmental. So.
now the overage, it don't matter on the overage hours, it's just 1.5 times the rate?
Right, right. Which, when I sat down with, one county, one of their tractors was costing them around $49 an hour when they were figuring in, because they had it all broken down from service to repairs to everything, that they were averaging around $49. So they said even with the overage, they were going to be ahead to use that tractor more.
Sean, what do we, on average, what do we put on ours a year?
I'm sorry?
On average, what do we put on ours a year?
I don't have an average. I have one machine at 680 is what one of our mechanics worked up the hours, and he used the machine out at his shop at 618 per hour.
For 1 year?
That's what he says.
That's correct. That's what our workshop and put it together and send it to John Deere out of their shop at 618 hours.
And this is for 300 hours?
350. Most people do the 12-month program. And then, what we do is, you know, in 8 months, I'll come to talk to you. If it's working well, this program, then I ask you, okay, if I got you, you know, 6130M, do you want to go to an R? Do you want to go up to the mid frame, stay at the small? And then we can actually order, what you want, but we got to have some lead time because these tractors are built in Germany. So it does take a little bit longer to get them. In a scenario, if a county right now or township committed to a tractor, you know, in the next couple of weeks, it would be, you know, we'd have to basically use what we got on the ground, which we still have several 6130Ms, and that's a small frame. And they kind of like those small frames to keep it lower to the ground, widen the stance, for rotary cutting. Now, you can get these with loaders as well. And it's an additional $1.80 if you do get a loader, per hour. But a lot of them leave without loaders.
Okay.
So.
I think it comes down to us kind of crunching the numbers and seeing.
Yeah.
What makes the most sense.
Right.
Don't you think?
Yep.
Yeah. And that's how it's taken several meetings for me with guys to go over kind of the analytics, what tractors they have, and if we do move forward, what's the best route. This is just a very attractive program that we've had a lot of success with just because that cost per hour. So.
Any other questions for Brandon? Thanks for coming down.
Thank you, guys. What's that? No. No, we have some that do 3 or 4. We have some that do 1. So, on the skid steers and other equipment, it's not as attractive on this rental program, but on these tractors they are, because Deere does subsidize these quite a bit. Coming from, this is a Deere program. So.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, guys.
Next on the agenda, we have Stephanie Walker.
Good morning, Commissioner. Stephanie Walker. I just have a couple questions for you. It's regarding a CUP that's been applied for the rock quarry. That's actually adjoining my property. The property that it's going to be on, that's up to my property. At the planning and zoning meeting the other night for the hearing, 80% of the adjoining landowners were there or within the 1,000 feet. And not for it and giving their case on the negative impact it would bring us. My question is, at what point does planning and zoning and you guys feel that maybe this shouldn't go through? I mean, we had 80% of the property owners that were within 1,000 feet of this place. So that's my question to you. Like, what?
I don't believe this has even been brought to us yet. Have you?
No, it was tabled the other night, but.
Which I don't agree with it. Because I've already got phone calls about it too. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I had to call Darren and ask him what it was about. Is there any way, and then I've stated this before, that when a CUP or something like that is turned in, can it come to us first so that we're not looking like fools whenever we get phone calls over it? And then it goes to the planning and zoning just so we have knowledge of it? Because I look like a fool and answer my phone. I'm like, what are you talking about?
If you request to the staff that they copy you on anything new coming in, they'll do it, sure.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, it's not a part of the official process, but they can keep you informed if you want.
Keep us informed of what the cuts are.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever got a phone call and you're like, I don't even know I didn't even know that was applied for?
Yes.
I got a phone call on it too, and I didn't know it was.
Yeah. So to answer your question, we don't know nothing about it yet. So
Because I mean, we have a veteran that lives, he's going to be the closest one to it, who is disabled. He's actually been disabled through the military for PTSD. So it's going to really affect his life with the blasting being so close to him. We do have a rock quarry already up there. I mean, literally almost across the street from where they're wanting to put this one in. I don't see a need for, the supply and demand is not really, we have 5, 6 other rock quarries in the county. But my other question to you guys is on the permit, on the CUP permits, once the regulations get put in place for, obviously each individual permit for whatever it may be, whether it be solar or rock quarry or whatever, who polices or follows up or makes sure that all those regulations are being followed and being taken care of and being done properly?
I think it's a Darren question, but I think the program that he had mentioned to us here a while back kind of helps him with that. But I think he's been kind of doing it by, clicking on things and looking to see what's coming up. And I could be wrong about that, but I think that's
my understanding as well.
So just him.
Code enforcement and everything along those lines.
So he's to check all the CUPS permits, like making sure they're all supposed to do what they're doing or supposed to be doing.
I think he's supposed to review them, yeah, and I think that's what that software that improved for him.
And like my understanding is that, on new stuff, we don't set them out quite as far. so that we're reviewing them through planning and zoning. Is that correct, Gary?
Don't set them out quite as far.
So like, we don't set where it's gonna renew in 5 years
Oh,
on some things.
typically, a new conditional use permit will only have a year or two initially, so we can see how it's going. It's not always
And then
that way.
then it has to renew.
So because I pulled up the,
So that's our opportunity to go back in and make sure that they're doing things accordingly.
gotcha, because at the meeting the other night, it was 5 years. Was
What they
the,
were asking for.
no, they were asking for 10 years, but Darren's suggestion was 5 years.
Okay.
So we just want to make sure if it does go through that they're doing what they're, supposed to be doing.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Stephanie. All right. What else do we have?
I've got a couple, well, 2 or 3 things here if you want me to do them. We've got 3 applications for CD dumping assistance. Darren has reviewed the applications. They're all in compliance with the requirements. The first one is applicant is James Kerr. It's 302 South 7th in Mount City. It's a demolition that's occurring there, requesting dump assistance. The second one is actually being done by the city of Pleasanton. The property is owned by Sherry Johnson at 200 West First in Pleasanton. And the third one is also being done by the city of Pleasanton. Property is owned by Mary Sylvester at 107 East 13th. As I said, they all appear to comply with the policy regulations. And so if you're prepared to do that, a motion to approve those 3 dump assist requests would be in order.
Any issues? I'll make a motion that we allow for dump assistance with James Kerr on 302 South 7th, the city of Pleasanton on 200 West First and 107th East 13th. Is there a second?
I got a question. When Pleasanton, when they condemn, are them condemned homes is what they're doing, tearing down?
I think there are homes that they've agreed, the property owner has agreed to allow the city to demolish them rather than actually go through a condemnation. That's my understanding.
So does Pleasanton turn around and charge them for dumping fees and then we waive it, or how's that? I mean,
Pleasanton is doing the demo at the city's cost.
so are they charging the homeowner for dumping fees, what I'm asking? But then we turn around and waive it? Because it's going for Pleasanton, right? We're doing it for Pleasanton. not
We're
the-
doing it for the city of Pleasanton.
So how do we determine if the homeowner's being charged for dumping fees?
They're charged something. I can't give you an exact amount. It's only because I know Mary Lynn and Sylvester. They do pay the city. So I don't know what it's
I don't know.
towards.
So should we check into, make sure they're not passing along dumping fees?
I can find that in just a minute.
Thank you.
Give me just a moment.
Yep.
The other thing that, while that's being researched, is that it was mentioned earlier, we had a core request for my billing invoices to the county, and those were sent out, but then there was a second request that followed up on that for, excuse me, I'm having some respiratory problems a couple days here. There was a second request for the log that I prepare with the detail of my hours. That is not turned into the clerk. That's only provided to the commissioners. Typically, those kinds of things are considered privileged. I have no objection to you waiving that privilege if you want to provide those. I think that would be an appropriate thing to do. There are a few things that need to be redacted for the sake of privacy, but not many. I have gone through it and looked at it. So if you want to waive the privilege and allow David to provide those documents, that'd be your choice.
I don't have a problem with it.
That's what they want. I'm good with it.
Okay.
And on something like that, that would just be on that specific request. It doesn't waive anything for
Right,
future.
on that request.
Okay, so do you have a motion prepared?
I do not. I mean, I can,
Gary, I do see on that, on some of them, that you've started charging us for extras on these meetings. You got 2 hours and then you're starting charging extras. Why is?
Only if it goes past noon.
But you've got it for 2 hours and then it's, after 2 hours, it's going to.
If you look at my agreement, my original agreement, it says that I allocate 2 hours for the meeting typically. And if it goes past that 2 hours, then it's part of the hourly rate.
And you're saying that you're only charging us after it goes past noon?
After it goes past the 2 hour limit, whatever.
After the 2 hours, so after 11?
Yeah, I guess that'd be.
Well, there's a lot of things on there that I guess I don't know about. So I guess I think you work for us, or that's, and there's a lot of things that go that you're talking to planning and zoning, and even right down to there's one you're talking with an elected official about solar. And I don't understand that. If we're going to talk about solar with an elected official, why don't we talk about to everybody?
My role has typically been, and the county councilor's role has typically been, to provide legal advice to anybody that is employed by the county commission or by the county. When somebody comes to me who's an employee and asks for a legal interpretation about something or a legal advice about something, if it's something that I know anything about, I provide it. If it's not, then I tell them I can't.
I just see a lot of extras on there that I don't know anything about, I guess is what my question is.
The extras that I bill for over and above the base are anything, any special meetings, any regular meeting that goes beyond the 2 hours that we've figured into the base. Anything dealing with litigation or potential litigation, anything dealing with codes court.
So how many hours are we getting each week, I guess, for your base pay?
On my base pay, you get from, the original plan was 8 to 10 hours a week.
That's what I don't know. I had trouble with that, I guess, from 8 to 10 for the original.
We
talked about that before, but I either see it at 8 or 10. I figure.
I figure it at 10 normally, but if it falls under 10, the agreement's at 8 to 10 hours is what we do.
There's just a lot of things, and it's times I reach out to you with emails, text messages, and phone calls, and I don't get any returns.
Well, as I told you before, I've quit responding to you individually outside of the meeting. Because I don't work for individual commissioners. I work for the group.
So, who was you talking to about the solar? I guess the elected official.
I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look and see when that was.
I don't know why that's another thing I see. I don't know why, if we're going to talk about this, why we don't talk about it. If we're talking solar, as hot a topic as it is right now, why we don't talk about it out in public. I mean, and it's on your blog summary that you did talk about solar with an elected official. And
I'd have to look and see what that was about. I don't recall.
There's just a lot of things I see. I mean, it gets brought to our attention here in a meeting a few weeks ago that there's been lots of discussions, even you involved on a timeline that goes back to this solar issue.
Well, yeah, just let me make a correction about that. I have not had any discussions with any of the solar companies. I sat in on one Zoom meeting when they were asking what we needed in an application. I said it on the Zoom meeting.
You're not involved with any emails or anything?
I have been copied on some emails, but I haven't had any interaction.
Well, I'm just saying, when this comes to me, and I don't know about them, but when it comes to me, and I don't know about them. It concerns me, I guess. And there's been quite a few of them, if that's the case.
Well, I've had no interaction with them at all, except for I did sit in on one Zoom meeting, as I said, because they were asking about the application process. This has been a while back.
Well, it kind of concerns me that I didn't know about it,
Did I sit in on a Zoom meeting?
about the solar deal.
What?
It looks like to me there's been a lot of interactions with the solar deal that wasn't brought to my attention.
It's all there.
So what do you need on that motion?
Well, what I had here, if this works, would be just move to waive privilege on the time logs requested by the Corps.
Okay.
I think there's already been one of them handed out anyway, so I don't know why we even do that, because I think there's one of them already floating around.
They didn't get it from me.
Huh?
They didn't get it from me. It came from one of you guys, if there is.
Didn't come from me. Just kind of like the redacted version of the, when we talked to the solar attorney, you know, that there was a copy of that redacted version of what was charged, and, you know, and I still don't have the redacted version, so I don't really know what to talk about.
You've got those bills, don't you, David?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't have it.
It was put out to the general public, the redacted version, and I was told not to say anything. And I still don't have a redacted version. So I don't know what to talk about it. People bring it up to me and I don't know. I don't know what can I talk about?
Are you asking me a question or just?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know. What can I talk about with that when we hired the solar attorney? And it got threw out to the general public in a redacted version, and I still haven't seen the redacted version.
I guess I'm not tracking what redacted version of
Her billing and everything that we talked about when we hired her. And I got it gave to me and wasn't supposed to say anything to anybody.
Like the contract?
That was a contract.
Yeah, that was an open records request, and we redacted some private information.
I still don't have the redacted version, so I don't really know what I can talk about and what I can't talk about.
Of the contract?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can give you what went out on it. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that I mean, once the law firm redacted their private information, then it became a public record when David.
Yeah.
For everything. Everything on there.
Yep.
Whatever was still on it after they redacted it.
I don't have it. See what I'm saying? There's a copy. I don't have it.
I don't have it either.
I don't know that you ever asked me for it, Jim. I can give it to you. That's
We
not a
talked
problem.
about it one time.
Okay.
I still don't know about, you know, what can we talk about and what can't we talk about? On the version, if it's been redacted.
If you know the things that were blacked out, is that what you're saying? If you know what
I still haven't seen it, so I don't know what's been taken off, is what I'm asking, Jerry. The redacted version got through out there, and I still don't know what I can talk about.
I don't know what was taken off.
So how do I know how to handle when somebody asks me a question about it? Because I still haven't seen the redacted version.
Okay, David can provide you one.
Yeah.
I think we should have been told to begin with.
Maybe you just forgot.
I don't think I forgot, Jesse. You got it, did you?
No,
Okay.
but I'm just saying that's how other
Is
stuff
that
works
what you
up here.
forgot about your dinner meeting too? If you forgot what happened, I didn't hear really what you talked about, so what can you talk about it to
They
us?
reached out to you as well.
No, they didn't. I've never talked to one of them.
That's because you don't answer your phone, right?
No, I answered my phone. They don't call my phone.
Okay.
You know, I'm just asking, what was your dinner meeting about? We can talk
It
about
was
it.
about solar.
What'd they tell you? What was it about?
You're welcome to reach out with them and meet with them yourself and inform your own opinion.
So it's a secret then, I guess, huh?
No, I'm just saying that
He's getting it.
Can we get an updated version of the 2 hours that you're supposed to be here on Monday? Because we don't have, ours is supposed to be here at all the meetings, and it's illegal for you to leave. So can you send an email?
If you make a request.
We did, and that's what we got. It says that you're supposed to work 8 to 10 hours. It doesn't say anything about 2 hours.
Okay.
No, that's in the thing that he's requested, that Mark requested.
All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get taken care of what we've got sitting out there. So what is the motion that you have?
I just had to waive privilege on the time logs requested by this Cora. I mean, we may want a little more detail than that in it to know what we're talking about.
Okay, and is everybody okay with that?
Yeah. Everybody done arguing? Can we move on?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Is there a motion to release those time logs?
I'll make a motion to release Gary's summary logs. His monthly summary logs.
Okay.
One second.
Moved and seconded to release Gary's monthly summary log that goes with this Cora request. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. On the dumping.
Angie Randall, Pleasanton City Council. I contacted Becky to find out the exact numbers. It's 50 cents per square foot that they charge for the demolition of the house, and that's to offset the costs that the city incurs. So I don't know how that would affect the dumping.
Okay. Was that?
Doesn't really answer the question, but I mean, I don't know what that 50% per square foot entails, but I just want to be sure that they're not charging this homeowner for dumping fees and then we're waiving the dumping fees. You know what I mean?
We charge them 50 cents per square foot, dumping fees,
For demolition,
everything,
probably.
for the demolition, for everything. 50 cents per square foot. So if you have a 1,300 square foot house, we charge you 50 cents times 1,300.
But as you can see, everything in
$650.
this county is not organized. That's why we just had a 15-minute discussion over bullshit. So I had to ask the question. So that's why I asked it.
Thank you. Okay. We have that motion still sitting out there for James Kerr at 302 South 7th, City of Pleasanton at 200 West 1st and 107th East 13th. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. What else do we have?
I think Sean had some more.
Yep. Sean?
The next item I had for you, Commissioners, is some equipment. As Jim had talked about the roads and the conditions and trying to maintain those. We have 3 blades that our equipment list or plan included rock savers for those blades. We're not asking you at this time to approve the entirety of the equipment plan, but in order, my understanding, these are 500-600 pound pieces that need to be moved from one machine to another or move the machine from one district to another in order to get these roads pulled back up and graded back down and get a crown on them. We had planned for those on the equipment plan for this year. We're asking that you let us go out and either bid or purchase those items. Looks like they're 21,000, so we're going to have to put that out, get pricing on those.
Didn't we buy the three we have on government sales for like 7,000?
I could not answer. That predates me.
That's what there was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what they were. You're talking, you're thinking, okay, sorry, you're
Three
talking
of them
total.
for 20.
Okay, sorry.
Total.
So, and I can tell you that one of those that we bought used is being repaired currently, and it has several damaged welds, so they've got it in the shop. So currently, we're down 4 rock savers on graders that we're operating now.
Okay.
I stopped 2 graders and kind of tried to educate myself about it, and they kind of explained to me and told me the purpose of them, and they seem to really be important to the road process, so I'm in favor of it.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
Got a lot of roads we need to work on.
Okay, do we need a motion on that, or we just send it
Uh,
to get bids?
I'll get bids and pricing and bring it back to you as soon as I possibly can.
Okay.
Along with that, the road tractor for the south shop was also scheduled. This piece of equipment, they've inquired about because this is going to move the X around for different projects, and that piece of equipment is in very poor condition at this time. They're looking at replacing that in our equipment plan, but we're also going to ask to go out to bid for tires, and this thing's going to need 10 new tires. They don't want to put new tires on something that is going to be replaced shortly thereafter, or they hope when the equipment plan gets approved that it gets replaced shortly thereafter. So it's somewhat time sensitive that we know what the intentions are with that piece of equipment, or we either buy the tires and we replace it later and we lose out on the tire money. And I can't tell you what the per tire cost on these are, but they're not cheap. I would have to assume that 10 tires is going to run us quite a bit on this piece of equipment. So they're not wanting to make that investment and lose money on it and then get rid of it a short time down the road. If it's something that would help the process, if you approve us going out to bid, we would be weeks away from having anything ready. We're also asking to go out for fuel, tire, and culvert bids. So if you allow us to go out to bid for this and we bring back all the tire bids and other things, I can bring you accurate numbers to take action on or to consider rather than just speculating on. But I would like to go out to bid for it and see what the pricing and the difference is and what we're talking about spending now that may be wasted later.
Do we have a low boy, the tractor for the low boy at the north shop, right?
That's correct.
How many hours do we put on the low boy, I guess, in a year's time? I mean, how much do we use it? Can we utilize one in the whole county to move the equipment around?
My understanding of that, and I cannot give you hours to that piece of equipment, my understanding is the X's that we have are going to have to be moved and trailered with that equipment. So if they're both going to do different projects, I believe that would be very difficult to do with just one tractor.
I don't see that but myself, but where we could move it around. What do you think, Danny?
Don't we just use the low boy and tractor for the medium-sized excavator? Is that all that pulls?
That and the dozers.
And our other excavators.
But then if we're on a project, it just sits on site.
Well, to add to the conversation, as I said, if it takes me 3 weeks to get bids, if we get bids and you take no action on them, you take no action. But if it takes me 3 weeks to get bids, I can pull the foremans back in and accurately answer those questions and pull hours and things for you so that you have all the numbers and discussion. I believe it would be beneficial to have the numbers to complete the discussion because I can't guess at them.
Okay, we're gonna allow him to send it out for bid, and then we can get the information and stuff on that. Or what do you wanna do?
I'm okay with that, but I'm probably not gonna be in favor of approving anything until I get a rhyme to reason why Pleasanton was shut down or why we don't have one big, huge road shop. I mean, your reason to vote against it was you needed more information. Have we got anything, anywhere on
I'm sorry?
the road shop of why it was shut down, or what, are we taking any measures to figure anything out?
I don't have any history of that road shop or why it was shut down or what the vote was.
So that wrongfully shut down, that's what my determination is, right? I mean, we have no records, no rhyme, no reason, no cost, benefit, nothing, right? I mean, is that right?
I don't know of any records that I'm currently searching for to add to the conversation. But if there are some in Pub Works or anywhere that you need from me, be happy to reach out and grab them or research them.
Okay. We're gonna let him go out to bid?
Then go out for bids for
Okay. You can go out to bid for the road tractor for the south shop. What else do you have?
We're also asking you to go out to bid for tire, fuel, and culvert bids.
It's always good to have members, I guess. What do you guys think?
I'm good with sending them out for bid.
I am too.
Okay.
Hey, you have a change order, I believe I sent over from Terracon, to have Gary review. Terracon's doing the cell expansion, on the walls, at the solid waste for C&D. Because of the request from the state and the timeline that, it's taken to prepare those changes, Tony sent us a change order requesting $5,000 be added to the cost of that. And that is, he sent the emails back and forth, and communications from the state, but he has had to make some revisions and do some other work on this project that would justify those hours, I believe.
So we're spending another additional $5,000?
That's correct. And it would require a signature on a change order.
Can we see the change order? The items that it's concluding?
Revision of permit drawings, including revision of design grades, addition of perimeter berms and additional details, recalculation of expansion volumes, resubmittal of vertical expansion plans to KDHE.
What was his first bid?
23,000.
So he's requesting 5,000, but he's gonna bill it as a time and material, so it's just more of a contingency fund? Is that right?
It's cap, yeah.
We okay with that?
I'm good with it.
I'm good with it.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we agree to the supplemental proposed additional budget of $5,000 with Terracon for the raising of the cells at the landfill.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Is this something we sign, Sean, or?
Believe correct, it can either be signed by you or approved for me to sign it. The next item I had for you is with our container rebuilds. JR called me over to look at one. If you can imagine, these boxes set up on a frame that runs the rail of this truck. The frame is connected to the hook point at the front, and the container is welded down to it. As in the other containers, this container has a lot of rod around the front and the bottom side of it. JR saying the top is looking good. The issue with this container is the frame and rails that it sits on are split. Your photograph should have showed that. He estimates 65 to 7 to rebuild this one. A new box we knew some time ago was 10. We believe it'd be bringing in closer to 11. He believes once this container's rebuilt, it'll give the life expectancy of near a new container. The container itself, as he looked up the serial number, he believes based on the serial number that this is an 86 model. So the money spent towards it, we can expect with the good top and a new set of rails to get some life expectancy out of it. If we do not put new rails on it and we just do the skin completion, he's telling me we're throwing money down a hole because the rails is what loads it on the truck, and these rails will not survive the life expectancy of the rebuild of the box.
And what's it cost for a new box? 11? Is that what
We determined that what we paid in the past for them was 10, but I believe it's going to be closer with the length of time since we got that bid, and now steel prices coming up, we can expect it to be closer to 11. So we expect this box to come in $4,000 or more less than a new box, which we do need all the boxes that we do currently have, but a new build is going to run us another $4,000 roughly. And this box by new rails and the bottom skin, from what he's telling me, should give us the life expectancy of that new box.
Is the rest of them in very bad shape?
The ones that we're looking at are a little rougher than the ones we've seen coming in.
Take the worst ones first is what I thought when we did this.
Well, until we got it lifted up, we couldn't see the rails. So it looked very similar to the other ones. The operator, when he dropped it off, identified a rail issue with it. And so JR picked it up and called me over to take the photographs of underneath it.
I think we gotta get it done.
Go ahead and get it done.
I think so, yeah.
So you gotta fix it. It's cheaper than new.
Okay. I'm good with that too.
Since this would be above my approval mark, does this need a vote for approval?
What was it, 7,000?
Up to 7,000.
I'll make a motion that we allow JR a cap of $7,000 to fix one of the roll-off containers.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded to allow JR to fix the discussed roll-off container in the amount of $7,000, not to exceed $7,000. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Next thing I had for you was from the Pleasanton shop 3 weeks ago, maybe 4. We discussed a John Deere tractor and metal shavings down in the pan and the 2 estimates that we got for repairs on it. It was determined at that time to bring it back to the shop and have the shop mechanic break it apart due to the high cost of the labor and bill that we'd received for quote. Because we were looking this week or hearing from Heritage Tractor about the lease program, we didn't want to, when we put the tractor back into our shop, I told you that we would have to buy tools in order to work on it that we did not currently have. You should have a railed splitting system rack stand. It's $18.99. Something within my approval range, but before we had this discussion on the lease program, I didn't want to spend that money and then have a program come in and make the purchase at that price for one tool useless to us. So at this point, I guess if we're going to do the numbers and look to the future about the lease program and its viability, and it's something that they may have to order equipment in for, I believe with mowing season on us, that we probably ought to go ahead and purchase the needed rail system to split this tractor and get it finished and out of the shop. And that's my intention at this point, unless you have any other direction for me.
How much does it save us by doing it ourselves?
I don't know the exact estimate, but the quote that we received was 2-part based on whether they had to split. And you're going to have to excuse my ignorance about a tractor, but the rear end versus the transmission section and how much they had to break it down. We believe we know what the metal shavings are from a previous repair to the vehicle, that there's not other damages in there, so we don't expect it to be a large expense after the needed tools and the breakdown time. So whatever the mechanics cost, there may be some seals and other stuff occurred and then an oil change in it. So if we have no unforeseen cost, I believe it's a very good investment for the equipment and something we'll probably use in the future. And it is a rated and loaded safety item that we just, unlike what you could do at home we have insurance and job safety requirements in the workplace that require us to get the proper equipment so that our employees don't get hurt.
You think we'll use it often after this, though?
Depending on the viability of the tractor program that we have now, to break even just to break it, to replace a leaking seal, you would need this piece of equipment. So yes, I would say it's something that's going to, in 3, 4, maybe 5 uses, more than pay for itself in the cost of labor and transporting these tractors somewhere else to have them broke down. So again, if there's no objections, that's the direction I'll head. I don't expect there to be a lot of extra cost after this for the tools or anything, but since it was an exorbitant cost and we were having this discussion, I did want to bring it to your attention. The next item I have for you, at the request of employees at the courthouse, I went out and looked at ADA compliant doorway openers for the south side of the courthouse and potentially for the old district court. What's happened is the employees brought it to our attention that several people have struggled getting in and out that south door to come into the bottom or the first floor of the courthouse. The door itself is wide enough. It would just need a ADA compliant opener. They believed at the same time it would probably be something that we would need to look at for the old district court building. I called several companies, and this is where I made several contacts and no one would call me back. If they did call me back, they told me we were out of their service area and they'd check if they could get that extended and never called me back after that. I got one group to give me a bid for both doorways. They will have to manufacture a mount for the old district court, but for 2 doorways to be ADA compliant, it is $9,655 on their estimate or quote. And David would have to tell you, I believe this is building fund.
We've got special building money in the general fund. We could pay for it. Okay.
And from what I've been told by the employees, a faction, because there's no intercom to call ahead to that first floor, a fraction of our community is struggling to get those services that are based on that first floor, and that's why it was brought to my attention.
Okay. Thoughts?
No, we can get some more bids, but I don't know where to get them at.
Yeah, I think a bit more bids. Who was that through?
CDL.
CDL. They were the only localized company that I could find. All the other ones I located online told us we were out of their service area.
I'm gonna send you a number for Doornautic Doors. I've done a lot of work for them. They might be able to help us out if you can reach out to them.
Be happy to.
I sent you the phone number of the overhead garage door guy too.
I'll be happy to reach out to both. Only thing I had left was 10 minutes for non-elected personnel for executive session.
His name's David, Sean.
Thank you.
I move we recess the Board of Commission meeting to executive session for 10 minutes to discuss individual employees' performance pursuant with non-elected personnel matter exception KSA 754319B, Section 1, to protect the privacy of the employee. Included in this will be Sean, Gary, David, and us.
I'll second. You make a motion.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
My time on the computer, I think your time's up on it now.
Okay. We have no action from executive session. Okay, Teresa?
First morning, gentlemen. I'm a bit stuck with this stuff before. I just found out some more information. I'll get prices and so forth. Back signs by county.
Thank you.
Okay, Teresa Miller, Pleasanton, Kansas. I would like to share with the three of you two things. Number one, there are a lot of us that are very concerned about the priorities of the board. The first being and boy, today was a perfect example, being the disrespectful tone and words of Commissioner, one in particular, when either referring to or directly speaking to our elected officials and professional people. The general attitude for the last many months has been so negative and abusive. I myself am embarrassed by some of the things discussed here in this room. Our county is in so much need of positive attitudes and ideas. Our sheriff is not running again strictly because he has been treated so disrespectfully and questioned time and again about what he needs to keep our county safe. Yet, he has managed to turn the law center into a $2 million business for our county, while also creating a great working atmosphere and doing a great job investigating some serious lawbreakers here in Linn County. I believe he deserves not only an apology for prior rude behaviors from this commissioner, I also believe his management of all these things deserves a much larger salary. We are paying our prosecuting attorney a ridiculous amount of money for a much less than adequate job. He also receives money and salaries from several other towns that he also does less than adequate work for. We believe our sheriff deserves at a minimum what we pay our inadequate prosecuting attorney. The bottom line, our officials and other professional people trying to help our county run more effectively are being treated very disrespectfully. I will also bring up another situation that is completely unacceptable, and that is, it really upset me that Mr. Johnson insisting on the removal of our county attorney and our economic development director, Jessica Hightower. In our opinion, again, this is most inexcusable. As the numbers point out, I have included a sheet with some population figures for Linn County, and they're a mite upsetting. One number that isn't included on there is that 31% pays the taxes in Linn County for 100% of the population. That's not a good number. Anyway, our county badly needs some good ideas for improving the number of people both visiting and moving here. And I understand from today that some people don't want that to happen, but we cannot stand still. I hate to see a dying county. We cannot flourish with all the negativity, often starting with our elected officials. As of late, this whole debacle of solar power farms is completely unnecessary and very costly to all of our citizens, not to mention the aggressive, threatening, and bullying attitude of certain people who do not want them here. All of us educated enough to know that they pose no danger. They are not ruining our beautiful countryside. And then I have in parentheses, the power plant already shines bigger than anything else around. But the enterprise will ultimately help our county. In addition, as for the solar companies being foreign, I'm confident that Evergy would not allow any solar company to hook onto their grid lines if they were not trustworthy. All these soothsayers are speaking lies and drama, not facts. And you three, who we all voted into your position, have already ruled on this and are facing serious contract issues with some very big companies. I would like to know why you are letting yourselves and us be bullied and harassed into changing your decision. Even our master county clerk and county attorney have advised you on this point. We need to turn things around and get to the business of making Linn County a growing and economically healthy county where more tax-paying people want to come and live, not where they hear nothing but chaos and negativity. To that end, I wish to step out and ask Mr. Johnson to familiarize himself with real integrity and submit his resignation. As he has constantly fed the negativity which is prevalent in our county right now, neighbor against neighbor, friend against friend, and most importantly, I myself have been ridiculed, sworn at, threatened, both in person and on the phone at my house. This is totally not okay. To conclude, it is past time for real integrity to be practiced on everyone's part. And that's it.
Thank you, Teresa.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me speak.
Public comments over. Okay. Do we have anything else?
Yep, Mark was on the agenda. You let Tracy speak.
Okay. Mark? Yeah.
I almost made it be able to say good afternoon, but it's a little early. All right, so a few questions. Clarification, I know you guys did go over the core request that I did submit. I do have some questions to follow up with that. You have to excuse me, I got to kind of bounce back and forth between two different things here. So we did do a core request back in, I don't know if it has a date on it, but for Gary Thompson's salary and compensation, the employee contract doesn't actually state 7 to 10 hours or anything about that. It does state his salary back in 2016 was $84,000 and currently gets paid $99,284.42. So I guess the 7 to 10 hours I do have questions about because it's not in the employee contract. I guess I'll follow that with a little more. So with the records that I have received so far, we're paying him an extra of anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000 extra a month. So I think it would be very important if that is or isn't in his contract that we're paying that much extra every month. Another thing is there's a lot of oversight within the county itself with everyone that does work here, and I feel like everybody kind of has free range with Gary. And I don't understand if there's extras that the county's paying for, especially if it's $4,000 to $10,000 a month, why you guys wouldn't okay that first. I mean, doesn't that seem a little crazy? So I guess, does he just have free range if anybody that works here or is a elected official can go to Gary for legal counsel at any given time? Because you also stated that you don't work directly with Jim because you're working with the commissioners, but you're singling out other hired employees or elected?
I don't work for Jim. That's correct. I work for the commission. Do you want me to respond to any of this? No, Commissioner, I'm sorry.
Would you like to, or?
I mean, I think you have taxpayers in here that want to know why we're paying all these extras if it's not in the contract. I think that adds up pretty quick. I mean, we sit up here every week. I mean, we've been here for 6-7 months and all you guys talk about is funding of the county. I mean, an extra $4,000 to $10,000 a month adds up pretty dang quick. So.
Okay.
Just because he's legal counsel doesn't always mean he's giving you guys the right opinions. So I think that's something that needs to be looked into. I think the no oversight seems crazy also because anybody that works here could come and talk to him, and I don't know exactly how he bills it because I only got a little bit of it so far, but if someone that's hired here comes and has a question, do we get billed an hour? Is that a $300 question? Is that a $10 question? And for the county to have to pay for those, that some of them may not even be legal questions, seems crazy to me. I think that there would need to be approval there. I think everybody else has limits in the county of what they can and can't spend without coming up here and presenting in front of you guys. So I just think it's something that needs looked at. I don't know what else there was. Let's see. If you guys want, I can read this, but it's going to take forever on the employee contract that was submitted to us. It was dated and signed in 2016, which from my understanding is the most current. We actually submitted this core request on 9/25/23, so it is fairly current. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't.
Okay. So without that, I guess one thing I'd like to say is it is frustrating as a citizen itself to stand up here, sit here every week, and we don't see you guys get a lot accomplished. I feel like there's a lot of turmoil between the three of you that negatively affects the county. As you guys know, I've said it a lot of times, I've watched meetings all the way back that YouTube supports them, and the commission used to not be that way. I've seen Danny sit up here week after week and reach out to you guys wanting help with opening his road district, with you guys continuously shutting him down instead of maybe speaking and trying to figure something out with that. You have citizens that ask you things and you guys do not respond to them. But I think it's absurd when you have a commissioner asking for help and you guys don't respond. Any questions of that?
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Anything else?
You asked me to prepare a memorandum of understanding with Quitcom. I put something together here. Sean looked at it, and he felt that it covered everything we talked about, but I don't want to send it to Quitcom until you've had a chance to see that it says what you want said.
I'm gonna read it out loud.
Pardon me?
Do you want to read it out loud?
Can if you want me to. You want to?
I'd rather not. My voice ain't very loud.
All right, I'll do that. This memorandum of understanding is agreed to this blank day of February 2024 by and between Linn County, Kansas and QuickCom Communications. Keep in mind, they haven't seen this yet. It is the desire of the parties to clarify the responsibilities of QuickCom as to the installation of infrastructure at county rights of way. The parties agree that, number one, it is acknowledged that all lines and other infrastructure installed by or for QuickCom in the county's right-of-way will be installed per the county's road right-of-way use regulations. Number two, when the width of the right-of-way or other circumstances makes it impossible to install the lines or other infrastructure the required distance from the road or at the proper depth, QuickCom acknowledges that it makes any such installation at its own risk and that any damage to that installation by the county or its agents or assigns to that installation shall be the cost of QuickCom, and the county shall be completely indemnified from any claim or cost from any damages to the county or other parties as a result of the placement of said installation. Number three, QuickCom agrees to cover any reasonable cost to the county for any necessary relocation of QuickCom's equipment necessitated by improvements, repairs, maintenance, reconstruction, or relocation of the county's road. Number four, when any permitted installation is completed, QuickCom will provide to the county a detailed, accurate, as-built plan showing the exact location and nature of the installed equipment. Did I catch everything that you wanted?
I think so.
Jim, you good with that?
Yes, I don't know why we even signed a contract though to begin with if we're not gonna follow it.
So, you want me to send this to him?
Yeah, I think so. I'm good with that.
I am too.
It covers us, I think.
The only other thing I had for you, Commissioner, was, we did, Sean and I have been back and forth in doing the revisions on the solid waste contract. I have one ready that he feels like covers everything. I feel like it covers us adequately. Do you want us to go ahead and send it to the cities to look at, or do you want to look at it first?
I think we should look at it first.
Okay, that's what I expected. I didn't want to hold it up. We'll have Sean email it to you.
You're talking about for the dumpster or
For the
Collection side.
collection sites, yeah. We'll have them email it to you.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
When we put like the 5 commissioner thing back on the agenda?
So public comments over.
I have been bringing that folder with me each week if you ever want to talk about it.
Can you bring it next week?
As I said, I've been bringing it every week. It's the last discussion.
So we put it on the agenda?
No.
We want to talk about it?
You could put it on the agenda if you want to talk about it, but we'll put it on the agenda when we want to talk about it. Exactly. Okay. All right. I'll move that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Motion moved and seconded, meeting adjourned.